Okay, welcome back everyone. Let's, do we need to say anything for the public to listen to, Gary?
No, I think it's all there in the report.
Okay, no worries. So first question was, Sarah?
Thanks so much for this. Now, given that the, I'm just looking at the public agenda, given that there are some potential challenges moving to a new site, and that we've spent a lot of time and money over the years trying to get this working, but also on the other side, the developability of the land for housing around Kars Road. Is there another option which looks at changing the rules around Kars Road so that, and consenting so that development can happen? So whether it's worth, you know, building a more extensive bund and noise protections at Kars Road, rather than a lot of additional money trying to shift.
So a lot of the Awatea site around Kars Reserve has been developed since the plan change with mitigation like bunds and so on. There's a couple of remaining bits which are going to be very challenging, and I think if the Kart Club stays where it is, potentially we would probably look at trying to change the zoning of that area and look at a different type of use other than residential, so maybe industrial, light industrial or something that could perhaps proceed.
Okay, but
the
not
details still to come once.
Okay, but there is a potential to still use that land for some purpose, should the car club not move. Yeah, because has there been any analysis done of the potential to, you know, the benefit cost ratio of, for example, type thing, of leaving it there, spending some extra money on mitigation versus moving?
Certainly the mitigation is probably gone as far as it can go.
Okay.
But it would probably require change of zoning to enable some further development, but we haven't done a cost benefit analysis of that.
Okay, thanks.
Andre?
Thank you. So there's money on budget, and the guts fly and sand would have been collected from DCs.
There's been a small amount collected in DCs. It's from memory about 355,000
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, so that 4.5 million, only a tiny fraction is actually from DCs.
It's still in the DC policy, and we will continue to collect it
Yes.
in DCs until
Yep.
it's fully collected.
Yep.
Yeah, but so far only a small amount has been
Okay,
collected.
you say around 300 and something. So because if DCs had to be collected for a specific purpose and council wasn't proceeding with anything here, what would happen to those DCs that have been collected for this thus far?
That's a good question. Have we got our... have had some legal advice on that, but it doesn't look like they are here at the moment.
I can probably add to that if you collect them for a certain project and you don't go ahead with that project, it's essentially discontinued, you have to repay those DCs to who you collected them from. We have had to do that in the past.
Okay.
Yes, there is a risk of that, but we have... our legal team have reviewed this, and I'm just going to pull up the legal section to get the wording right. And they're of the opinion that we can still apply the DCs to the same kind of reserve purpose. So if the idea was to move the Kart Club and redevelop the Kars Reserve as a park, potentially we could reapply the funds that we have collected to redevelop the area, that because some of the funding was also for moving the greyhounds, which have now gone. And so the legal opinion is that we can probably apply those DCs to redeveloping the greyhound area for local park.
So that flows beautifully into my next question, as to, but also on which catchment it would have come from. So reserves, parks, neighbourhood parks, which of those catchments?
It's just reserve sports parks, which is a district-wide It's not a catchment, it's district-wide.
So not from a growth catchment like neighbourhood parks would have been?
No, because it's sports parks, so it's
Okay, understood.
district-wide.
Cool,
Yeah.
thank you. May know the answer to this, may not, but since 2010 or 2011, whenever this sort of started, have there been any public consultations to date?
I think when there was like 10 or 11 or more sites that were investigated, there was certainly some community involvement in that, which Helen referred to earlier.
Yeah, but not any public consultation as such on what the council may or may not, or should or shouldn't do with the Kart Club going forward. To your knowledge, besides annual plans and stuff.
Don't know the details, sorry.
Cool, that's all right. Cool, thank you.
Kelly, I've got a question. The subdivision that's next door to the existing Kart Club, that's built its noise mitigation and the big fence on top of the hill on their own land, haven't they?
There's actually several subdivisions around there, and
Yes.
they've taken slightly different approaches. Yeah,
Yeah,
some's
but-
on their
but-
own land. I think there's some that's also on the reserve land.
But there are, for them to be able to build their sections there, which we let them do, they used up some of their land that they could build sections on in the future to build this noise mitigation so they could get underway on the proviso in the back of their head that one day the Kart Club would shift, they could take their noise mitigation down and then build sections where the big hill is. Have I roughly got that right?
I'd have to go and look at the boundaries and look exactly where the boundaries are. I
Okay.
don't know.
And I know there's and we saw it in a previous report today at the Cars Road landfill, that the go-kart track is or isn't on a landfill. I know the landfill's beside it, but is that an
Cars
old
Reserve is a landfill.
that,
yes.
So the Kart Club is on a landfill. Okay. Alrighty. Any more questions? Yanni?
Yeah, thank you. Just kind of wondering why this isn't done as part of the draft annual plan or through a special consultative procedure. Like, I'm just trying to understand how the community views could be.
My resolution may answer this question.
Right.
So if the new site proves feasible, and as Andrew mentioned, we would need to come back seeking additional funding to make it happen. That would definitely have to go through an LTP or annual plan to approve that extra funding.
Right.
Could you clarify the question about consultation? Because to consult, you'd need an actual proposal to consult on, wouldn't you?
Yes.
So what's the cost to getting to, so if we agree to the recommendations, what's the cost attached to that?
So it will be operational costs. We'll be looking at substantial amount of staff time, and there'll be costs involved in the resource consenting process. It's been estimated at $100,000, which will have to come out of existing codes. The previous one, staff ended up coming back and requesting additional funding, and I think that was $170,000. So, yeah, I'm not sure how much that would cost.
I guess what I'm struggling to comprehend is how do we prioritise this ahead of things like the residential industrial plan change or the Olympic, vert ramp for skaters? Like, how do we prioritise this when there's, as I understand from the report, relatively few complaints? So it's not generating any noise issues at the moment, or if it is, it's very, very minor, versus the other things that are causing a really big disruption to our community in terms of well-being, that we're told we don't have the resources and we're still, well overdue at doing the work on. Like, how have we come to the conclusion that this should be a priority ahead of those other things, given its budget impact?
So this project initially came about through the plan change that allowed for residential development to occur, but was assuming that the Kart Club would move. So it's been around for a long time.
And we put money way back to assist in that. Whether it's enough or not doesn't matter, but we did.
Mm.
If we agree to it, it will effectively mean that those other things will be delayed even more because we'll need to find resource to do it. in terms of operational capacity.
Oh, I just don't think that's...
My understanding from the question that was asked and answered before was that there's money on budget to do the first phase. If it's going to cost anything more than that, it would need a subsequent council decision to invest any more money in. So and it's in the report on page 69, 190k of budget to do this work. Any further work would require an LTP or annual plan decision.
Yeah, but there's, as I understand, there's still the organisational capacity to do the work, which needs to be prioritised.
That's up to them to tell us if they've got the people to do it, and from what I'm told they have.
And can I just check on the kind of other question that I had around this is basically, is there any legal requirement around the existing potential residential development? Like, is there an agreement that we would do X as part of the rezoning, or is it just fully within our discretion?
There was certainly an expectation that the Kart Club would move. I don't know that there's any obligation for it to happen, no.
Because I thought initially there was something in our district plan, or...
Right, I just want to get going here. I'm happy to move this as a staff report, and Tim's happy to second it.
So I've moved an alternative resolution, which would be quite good to have up there. And I also had a question of staff.
Okay, so we have Andre question. Oh, sorry, Yanni, have you finished? Yeah. Thank you, Andre.
So you mentioned that you have to have a proposal before you can consult, but council can consult on anything, any time, to get a view of the public on a concepts, ideas, whatever it might be. So why would we need a proposal to do any form of consultation?
I'm not sure what we would be consulting on.
The future of the Kart Club and potential use of the land. Council could consult on it any time. It wouldn't need an actual proposal.
Councillors, I'll just point out you could do that, but you'll be consulting on something that you cannot do until 2055. Because the Kart Club has a legal right to stay there until 2054.
Sorry, you're consulting on whether council pursues looking at alternative sites. You can still consult on doing that or not.
As opposed to the use of Cars Road.
Yeah. So you how you've got it there is you're consulting on the future of Cars Road Reserve Kart Club.
That's right.
So
happy to be whatever wording is needed.
Do anything until 55 on that.
Well, sorry. Okay, future meaning coming years, not after 2054.
Yeah, that's not what's written here.
Yeah.
Oh, happy to word it however.
And potential alternative uses of the land, that would only be if the Kart Club gave up their lease.
Well, that's right. So if the land could potentially be used for something else.
Only if they gave up their lease.
If it is moved, that's
if they gave up their lease.
Yeah, my point here is that we should be getting a steer from the community before deciding to pursue alternative options or ruling it out altogether, because that's not something that's happened over these years. And there's $4.5 million in the budget, and the public have never really been asked what they think about moving it in the first place.
This has been, correct me if I'm wrong, Kelly, this has been going on for far too long.
Yeah.
As long as I can remember,
yeah,
as long as I've been here.
It's a bloody nightmare. Some clever person signed up a lease, which is fair enough. They would have done it in the right for the right reasons way back in the day. There was talk of relocating them out to McLean's Island once upon a time. I do know that the contractor that had the land got sick of waiting, and he filled it in because he could fill it back in. He could backfill it with material, so he did. So that option vanished out the window. You've come up with another piece of private land, and I think my view is, I think we should use this money, see if we can get it, progress it, because it's where it is. Some people might like it and some people think it's great, but we need to move into the 20th century with the Kart Club and go forward and tidy up that loose end, especially for the subdivision next door, which has got noise mitigation stuff going on and using up valuable land that they can't use because of the noise mitigation they're doing. Does that make sense?
So for your resolution to work, we just would need to reword it completely.
Happy to reword it, however.
But so I'm not quite sure what you're trying to achieve.
Well,
So-
I don't think we should be pursuing extra time, resources and money into moving a kart club without getting an idea that the community want us to actually actively go and do that.
to move it. So we're consulting whether they're happy with the kart club remaining where it is.
Well, yeah, ultimately so. But also the community needs to be aware of what it would potentially be there in its place. So
But
it is.
we wouldn't know that.
Well, no, we wouldn't know that, but
Through you, Mr.
but it would
Mayor,
be. It's a public reserve, so it would be.
Mr. Mayor, that requires a lot of resource as well.
Yeah.
You understand
You're
that.
shifting the
But
demand from one
it's
project
public land.
to
We should be asking the public what they think before going and making decisions like this on pursuing extra time and money, or indeed ruling it out altogether.
As Andrew, sort of semi-debate going on here, as Andrew has said, it will cost a lot more money, time and effort to do exactly what Andre's suggesting as far as consultation and time and as you, did you say 2055 or 45? 55. And that's one of the issues we've got. So,
Sorry, how would an engagement require more time and resources than the original resolution?
The original resolution is noting that there's 190k on budget.
already.
But we,
How would a short, simple engagement take more resources and time than that?
because we'd have to put proposals.
Through
we'd have
through
to-
you, Mr. Mayor, I didn't say more. I'm saying you're shifting the resource.
Sorry,
but
that's what the Mayor said.
there is the potential, of course, if the feedback is please move them, that you're doing that work, and you've got to continue as well. So
Okay.
we're just pointing out that
So you're saying consultation and
requires
doing the
effort
work would
both
be more
ways.
than
Not,
doing the work alone. Yeah, of course it
Put
would.
the money aside and
Yeah.
say what's the preferred approach. Because you're right, we haven't got the costings for them,
Yeah.
but both would take a lot of staff
Yeah.
time.
Of
a
course, if you
considerable
consulted and
amount.
didn't go ahead, that would require a lot less resources.
Melanie.
I think what Andre's saying for wording is request staff to undertake public consultation on whether council should continue investigating the feasibility, the bottom. Is that what you're meaning? Yeah. So that bottom line should go into the
Public consultation.
top line.
No, we won't go. That'll be delayed, won't it? We've got lots. Council.
Are you're good, Mel? Well, are you working on that? No. Tim? Oh, sorry, Andrew's got something.
I'm just mindful that the club have property rights, and to go out and consult on the future use of that land, that's why I raised the point that we don't have access to that land until 2055. They have existing property rights.
Yeah.
In which case, we probably shouldn't have $4.5 million on budget.
We haven't, like, just to be clear, there's 190k on budget. And, yeah, and the capex isn't till F27.
No, that is CapEx. There's 190k is CapEx, and then the F27 is also CapEx.
Yeah.
So the investment we'd have to make now to continue investigating the site would have to come from operational budgets,
Which you can handle.
which we will have to juggle against other priorities, as Yanni pointed out.
But the idea that we can rate for $4.5 million over a few years, but we don't have the right to ask the public what they think our next move should be, just isn't making any sense.
Right, hang on, things are getting messy here. Melanie had probably a backup question, then it's Tim.
I actually what was your resolution?
The staff resolution, all the blue stuff.
All right. I want to make a foreshadowed, I suppose, request staff not to continue investigating feasibility. It's number 3. Yeah. So
Well-
just changing 3 to request staff not to continue. So you add not to. Or not. Or to discontinue. Yeah, whatever, something like that.
Okay, so why would you want to do that?
Risk with doing it.
Are we in debate?
People over there have been waiting probably 10 or 15 years, Kelly, to get this bloody disaster sorted out one way or another, and we've pushed it down the road so long. Here is an opportunity to go to a piece of private land, which the staff have been working maybe with, and just spend, I shouldn't say just, spend $190,000 to see if it's viable, and if it works, it could be the best thing that ever happened. And to say that what are we going to do with the land when it's finished, when it's a rubbish dump, I'd say it's going to be closed landfill or have a bit of soil put over the top of it and have trees planted on it, and that's the end of it. We won't be able to sell it for residential or anything like that. It's just a bit of almost worthless land we wish we'd never owned it. So we need to be just tidy up this loose end. We owe it to the community down there, and for the sake of $190,000, which is on budget, to do this, I think it's sensible, and see if we get an outcome. It might well come back, but I think it's worth the risk.
So just to be clear,
In debate, can we
Miles,
restore
what was
order
the
to the
idea?
site?
I've got Tim next, and then
Adjourn for
Vic.
lunch.
So let's just be clear. So we have the resolutions that have been moved and seconded. Then we had one suggested amendment put forward by Andre that hasn't been seconded. We've also now got Mel's alternative resolution, foreshadowed. Well, it's not foreshadowed because we haven't moved. She's gotten a potential amendment that we would vote on first, which is really just the reverse of the staff recommendation number 3. So the staff recommendations said request staff to continue investigation, and Mel's or Councillor Coker's resolution is discontinue. We've got Andre's one around consultation and go out and consult. We'd probably need to come back with some advice around timing and resourcing for that, because of the consultation schedule. We wouldn't be able to do that.
Has either the staff rec or what Mel wants to do been moved or seconded yet? Is anything on the table?
No, neither Andre's or Councillor Moore's or Councillor Coker's have been seconded yet. Did you?
To be fair to Melanie's amendment, it's either vote for staff rec or you don't. So
Yeah,
really,
so
yours
the
is.
point, it's just the reverse.
Yeah.
Number 3.
But we would need a determination to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the officer recommendations have been moved by the Mayor and seconded by Councillor Scandrett. The amendment from Councillor Moore does not have a second.
Councillor Johansson seconded one.
Go out for
And the
public consultation.
the foreshadowed motion has been moved by Councillor Coker and seconded by Deputy Mayor Cotter.
Yeah.
All right.
No, well, it is because you're actually instructing stopping the work. So
Okay, Victoria's been waiting patiently.
Otherwise, it's status quo.
With Councillor Moore advocating for the need for consultation, for the benefit of the councillors who are only here for the first term, can you help me understand what is it that staff have been doing and why have they been doing it for so long? What is the problem that staff are trying to solve? That's the bit that I want to get to, please, to help me understand how I'm going to vote on this.
Andrew's probably got the best.
You've got the history of this.
Why don't we
one.
adjourn for lunch and then come back and do it?
Kelly's probably got the best answer, but essentially, a previous council made a decision to relocate the Kart Club. So over the years, that has been pursued. And as Kelly has pointed out, an option has come forward to continue to pursue that resolution that was made some years ago. That is why the staff recommendation is up there. Would you like us to continue or not? Effectively?
And the issue that we're trying to resolve is to allow development to continue around Cars Reserve. at the moment, there are restrictions on the development because of the noise issues.
Part of the question then is, without the need for going to public consultation, are we already hearing noise in the system via other means other than consultation, that it continues to be a problem?
Could staff answer the question? Yeah.
Yes, there are developers who would like to develop their site and they currently can't, probably won't be able to get resource consent, although a large number of them have been able to. There are a couple that will still be facing some significant challenges to get their development consented.
The information I was wanting to find out about is whether there are complaints about the noise from out there, and there is still noise and a request to move the Kart Club.
So that's public, you're asking for public noise complaints?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've got that in the report. We have had very few in the last few years.
But there was a lot years.
You need to answer. Just let staff answer the question.
Is it? Yeah, there's only been 2 in the last 5 years of public complaints about the noise.
Okay, we have Sarah.
Thanks so much. Well, we've got some money on budget now for the this investigation phase, and we've got some money on budget for the actual relocation itself. We're likely to need additional funding for the relocation itself. What do we expect the total to be, and would all of it end up being covered by development contributions? And if so, how long, how much of it is development contributions funded and how much is ratepayer funded?
So the extra amount that's required is in the confidential attachment.
Okay, so you can't do that.
We
but
had a
proportion then.
cost estimate done, but that's
Yep.
commercially sensitive. And we can then add that to whatever the amount turns out to be. We can add that to the DC policy, and currently we're charging that at 100% towards DCs. So yeah,
100% towards DCs, or does the whole
budget.
does the whole project end up being funded by DCs?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we can increase the budget, and it'll mean we have to increase the amount of DCs collected.
Okay, so effectively, ratepayers do it and it gets paid back by DCs over time
Yes.
as that's all collected.
Correct.
Okay.
Should we have the last 2 questions? Or
Yeah.
Two more questions, and then what's going to happen is we're going to go and have lunch, so some people can go and read the report a bit better than they may have, and including me to a certain extent, and then we'll reflect on where we're at and see what we're up to, and probably come back here at about 2:15. So we've got 2 more questions. Yours done. Mark?
Thank you, and this might be a really obvious thing that I just haven't read and found in the report myself. Have we spoken to the Kart Club and confirmed their continued desire to be relocated?
Absolutely, they've been part of this, and they think it's an ideal option to relocate.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we'll come back at 2:15. Thank you very much.